Hi, welcome back to Wild Speculations. I'm Daniel.
I'm Scott.
This week,
We are discussing Campaign 2, Episode 58, Wood and Steel. So, there's 1 minute, we're finishing up some technical stuff.
yes. Oh, there it goes. It's going to be one of those nights. Anyway, yes.
Yeah.
An interesting name for the episode.
Yeah.
Almost. Part of me wonders if, like, this week's episode might have been a better name for that. I mean, I understand why they named it that.
Yeah.
It's just they're going to be in the woods at the steel mill this episode. So.
Yeah. So a couple things before we get into the episode proper. One, the fundraiser, the Kickstarter did hit the 10 million. So we will see Travis in a haunted house. And 2, third letter in Sam's flask message is another O. So we have DOO, which totally has me stumped as to what it's going to be. One person on the web said he might be doing Wormwood backwards, because maybe a month or 2 ago they did a series of tweets where the first word in each tweet was the Critical Role theme, the D&D Beyond theme song, but backwards, so that when you scrolled down it was in order correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So he may be doing that.
I can see him doing that.
So it may just be a Wormwood advertisement.
Speaking of D&D Beyond, the campaign, it was an interesting lead-in to the Liam time and the announcement therein.
Yeah.
Equal time is not a law anymore. That was gotten rid of in 1980.
Most people who cling to it are doing it because they want to throw out a bunch of random stuff that you can't answer the questions, the state.
Yeah.
Into time.
And his running mate, I mean, it's an unbeatable ticket.
Yeah. Vote with your Johnson.
Yeah. I mean, Liam already had my vote. And as I said on Twitter, all those of lawful alignment must unite behind Liam. But this episode. Oh, one more thing out of game, I guess, that I wanted to comment on is I wanted to ask you what you think Travis did that has him so terrified.
Or what happened to him?
No, I don't think anything happened to him. I think, well, we know he is a major prankster. Yes. And that he loves to torture the other cast members.
Yes.
Since they started the campaign on Kickstarter, he's been extra twitchy.
Yeah, he has. But at the same time, I'm not sure it's something like he did and they're trying to prank him back. Because they keep talking about how they always make him go first at Halloween Horror Nights because he gets scared really easy. Yeah. And it's funny to watch this huge weightlifting Jocks mocking a guy get scared and scream high-pitched.
Yeah. I'm just wondering what he did that now, like, even in the game, like in game, in character, he's nervous.
Well, when we talk about for tonight in episode, I'll explain why I think that's happening in character.
Okay.
Because I have a theory about that.
Okay.
And it's kind of been built, it hasn't really been enough to say, hey, this is what's happening, but it's enough to make me think he's setting up for what's going to happen.
Okay, fair. And right off the bat, we get the lawful good guy suggesting we let these man-eating animals free in a highly populated area.
What lawful good guy? I'm just saying, you keep giving me wood to put on my fire. I'm going to keep building the fire.
Yeah. And I'm waiting.
Yes, more bounders are back.
I'm waiting for them to attack either Sprinkles or Nugget. Because this episode, she said to Nugget, "Be careful, Yarnball will want to eat you."
Yes. As far as who's going to get eaten, bitten, whatever by the Moorbounders, Sprinkles and Nugget are not my top two.
Mine neither. Ford is my number one.
Ford is my number one. Just because of that incident,
Well, and Yannick straight up snapped at him.
Yeah. The other one is they are described.
Do you think that's the Warlock? Do you think that's Matt narrating being a Warlock?
Possibly.
Because that's where my mind went.
But, I mean, maybe that particular type of Warlock, but not all Warlocks are going to make animals uneasy because they can get the beast speech and talk, depending on how they're played. But, yeah, it could be the Warlock. It could be his specific patron, this, cat-like beast, fish-like.
Fair.
The other thing is they are cat-like, and if you're familiar with cats, when there's a new one, cats will often fight and,
to establish
dominance, pecking order. Is Frumpkin and Yannick gonna be at odds fighting over Caleb's attention?
Probably not, because Frumpkin is not actually a cat. Frumpkin is a sentient fey creature that Caleb has decided should look like a cat. And he also told Frumpkin, "You are top cat."
True. That doesn't mean Yannick's not going to try and establish dominance.
Yes, that's true.
Which is why Frumpkin is up there for me.
That's fair. But my MVP for this episode is an unconventional pick for why I picked them.
Okay.
My pick for this episode was Travis.
Okay.
And
I agree, though I think we have different reasons.
Mine was right off the top. He's the one who got us off on a shopping episode.
Yes.
And I chose him for my MVP for doing that because he hates shopping.
Last shopping episode, he left town for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons he did that was because they had a similar feeling as what we were talking about last week about Ashley being back. She's going to be looking at a heavy Yasha episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I think by encouraging the shopping episode, he delayed that for Ashley.
Yeah.
And there are other things later on in the episode that I give MVP to Travis for as well.
Yeah.
But that for me was the biggest.
Despite it being basically a shopping episode, at least the first half, it was also a very revelatory episode.
Yeah.
More so than a typical shopping episode should be.
Yeah.
And because of that, and especially, and we'll get into it later, but with Wersh and then with the foreman is why I gave Ford. And that goes into my theory that we'll talk about when we get to the blacksmith.
Okay.
So, but Travis was also my MVP.
Yeah.
Different reasons, but same outcome.
Yeah. And I love the team building exercise of collecting diamonds. Everyone's putting in bits, which is an interesting change from last campaign. Because last campaign they had party funds, and Nexalia just divvied out
what people
allowance to everybody.
Yeah.
And then they would buy the big ticket magic items from the party funds, usually.
Yeah.
And so this campaign's interesting in that aspect.
Yeah. I saw a meme, and it was the one with the pumpkin pie, and there's the one normal slice taken out, and then there's one slice that isn't touching any of the crust. And for the normal slice, it's campaign 1, and for the other one, it's campaign 2. From Critical Role memes. I was like, yeah, that's accurate.
But for me, one of the significant builders that you mentioned, that this wasn't just a typical shopping episode, was Jester recruiting Bo to draw dicks in the books at the library.
She is officially, I would say, well, unofficially, but in a sense, officially now discipling Bo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, discipling Bo might be a little strong, but she's definitely building a flock.
So, yeah, I get discipling might be a little strong. It implies consent on both sides, but I'm thinking more like when the Christian missionaries go to places where it's illegal to witness, and then they start building the relationship and then start getting them to do things to try and reach out to them, that she's doing that kind of thing with Bo.
It's the metaphysical equivalent of wax on and wax off.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
I thought you were going to teach me karate.
Just draw the dick.
So, yeah. And it will be interesting to see if and how Jester starts pranking any of the other Mighty Nine or recruiting them into her pranks. Because she kind of already did that with Knot when they had their adventure in the Platinum Sanctuary.
Yeah, she brought Knot along.
So, not that it's unprecedented, but this is the first time that it felt... Well, with that one, it was more she was bringing Knot along to sort of protect her back, to watch her back.
Yeah.
She was doing the act. She just wanted somebody to protect her. Whereas this time, she's asking that other person to do the act.
In her place.
Yeah.
Surprise twist, Jester's Manson.
But that goes to the scene where Warsh, the half-orc.
Before that, they're deciding who's going to go where.
Yeah.
And you have Knot and Yasha initially say they'll go to the library with Bo and Caleb, and then quickly switch to the shopping, leaving the two humans, which, okay, I am not against splitting the party. It happens. It happens often. But in a place where humans are not...
Now, see, I thought it was a good thing that Bo and Caleb went off on their own.
I think it was good for them. I don't know if it was good. It wasn't a good plan. It turned out to be a good thing. From a planning standpoint, they shouldn't have been alone. When you're weighing your pros and cons.
No, not really. I mean, as half a party, essentially, two characters is half of a normal party. As that goes, Bo is spec'd out to be a tank, but she's also a striker.
Yeah.
And Caleb is
so
like in the what do we have in our grab bag of what we can do?
Okay, so yes, a wizard and a monk are good to split off.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the logistics of human in an anti-human society.
They had the coins.
They did, and it ended up saving them.
No, okay. They were not, that guard was not looking at them that way because they were human. I submit that guard was acting like that because they just took up station outside and started casing the joint.
Except the guard didn't come to him until someone else saw them standing there and went up and said, hey, there's two humans over there.
No, it was a guard that noticed them. Because it was that guy that noticed them who approached them when they started walking.
It was two drow that were going in, and they stopped and talked to the guard, and then the guards came over.
Well, still, it was her casing behavior. She's just standing out and watching the place.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting, because on one hand, she's saying we need to get better at spying, and that she's been trained for this. And then she starts demonstrating how you proceed slowly. I mean, she didn't bother with the stealth check,
right?
But she didn't think she needed it.
Right.
And I think that goes back to them being used to... They've lived their whole lives as humans and being able to disappear into the crowd.
Yeah.
And now they can't hear. So in that aspect, I do give you that maybe not the best.
We'll say it was column A, column B.
Fair.
It probably would have gone better for them had they had one of the non-humans with them. It would have been less suspicious.
Yeah.
But I thought it was an interesting choice. And, so...
Well, I think as team building things go, that was one of the better things that was done in the episode as well.
Yeah.
And also, an early test of what those coins can get the humans.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And now they all have printed tire anyway.
Yeah. By the end of the episode, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they go meet the half-orc blacksmith.
Yes, Wersh. Who has an eerily similar accent to Ford, despite one being from south of the Empire and the other being from north of the Empire.
Which might indicate that that accent is Orcish.
Though none of the orcs they met had a similar accent in this episode.
No, but the orc that they met on the road out of Zadash had a southern drawl.
A bit, yeah. Okay. Perhaps.
So, but that was a funny point of comparison later on in that scene. But yeah, his reaction to Matt was great and fueled an undercurrent of that scene.
Mm-hmm.
That I was worried would be Matt for the third time telling Caduceus it's Uthadurnian, you're going to have to go there.
Yeah.
Into, I'm going to challenge Ford in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something in Ford's backstory that we have not dug into yet.
Oh, yeah.
That this is a character choice on the part of Ford, that every time he runs into a half-orc or orc, he puts up that front.
Mm-hmm.
And Warsh called him on it.
Yep.
And said, you keep walking around with that chip on your shoulder, you're going to get shanked.
Yep.
Not you're going to get in a fight, but someone, or, you're going to meet somebody eventually it's going to be your match. Someone's just going to...
Yeah. We also find out that Wersh is actually from near where Caduceus is from.
Yes, or knows where Caduceus is from, yeah. Well, they're in the same forest.
Yeah, same forest.
Yeah. Boratha. And I think he said the Rime Plains?
Yes, I believe so.
I couldn't make out if it was Rime or Rhine.
I think it was Rime.
Okay. In the north part of the Savalier Woods.
Yeah.
On the other side of the Penumbra mountain range.
Mm-hmm.
Which is our nether breadcrumb north.
Yeah.
And Travis even picked up on the fact that maybe they could get this guy as a guide to go up that way.
Yeah, so he can get his apprenticeship.
Which makes me want... Now, Matt didn't come out and say it, But he said his apprenticeship was north of his village.
Mm-hmm.
Was he supposed to apprentice with an Uthadurnian?
Perhaps. Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of where my mind went.
Yeah.
But, okay, so with Ford, he's called out on his insecurities. He kind of, like, as soon as, the guy starts talking, he just starts blocking everything, deflecting, But he's been like this for a while. You mentioned it since the Kickstarter. I want to say I noticed it before that. He's, been very...
Well, was the second dream that he spat up salt water before or after the Kickstarter?
I think it was just before.
Okay. Because that's where I get it. And I thought might be where you're going. That it's a result of his interaction with Uk'otoa.
It is, and I think it's him resisting that. I think he's. So it starts out with him going to the academy, wanting to go to the academy, and then that gets flipped around because of an incident at the dock, and now he's a pirate. But that's okay because he might find Vandrin. He had a dream of Vandrin on an island. Then he meets this person who's another follower of Uk'otoa, and then he starts sleeping with her, and then he has to kill her, and then they're back on land without finding Vandrin, and that's when it starts going downhill for Ford in his mood. And he's going back and forth and back and forth. And I think Travis is doing it intentionally to lay a foundation of... At first it was he didn't know what Uk'otoa was, and then he learned about Uk'otoa, and it both excited and frightened him, and he's unsure, and he's wants some of it but not all of it.
He almost sacrificed the world to get a piece of the power.
To be able to control water once a day. Yeah. Just fucking multi-class, man. Sorry. But he's going, and then he's like, okay, I gotta walk away from this, but he's still tempted, and you can tell because he's getting aggravated. And he's like, there's another one here on land, and just not so much he says it, but he's kind of just like, well, yeah, we can go this way, and I think part of it is because at first they were starting to go, and it was general direction, and then they kind of veered off, and that's when the dreams came back, and then it starts playing. And I think he's setting it up for, I don't want to say a showdown with Uk'otoa, because it's not going to be a showdown with Uk'otoa, but for his eventual multi-class out of Warlock.
Yeah, I can see that.
And, I think he's setting up for that. And I think it's going to come back to probably around level 13, because he's going to hit level 12 to bump his strength so that he can go Paladin.
Okay.
That's my odds on for what he's going to do.
Redemption?
I don't know about redemption. I don't know what oath he'll go, but I think it's going to be about whether it's the Wild Mother or the Traveler or the Stormlord or another god. He is going to try to find a way for the Luxon, something to buy him out of this contract, essentially.
Fair.
He really doesn't have the stats to multi-class at the moment, unless he goes Wizard,
Sorcerer, Bard.
Sorcerer or Bard. But I think it's going to be... I don't really see those, though.
I could see
Sorcerer in Divine Soul. I can't really see Bard.
I could see him doing Sword or Valor.
So, but the other thing is...
And Valor Bard would almost fit his playstyle that he's been playing Ford as. A backline commander of everybody.
Yes. Okay. The reason I shy away from Wizard and Sorcerer and Bard, is those are full casters. And he's already talked about having been overwhelmed with the spells that he has already.
Yeah.
So he'll either... So to do anything else, he's got to up that strength.
Yeah. Which single ASI would give him the 13 that he needs.
Right. So that's why I say around level 13, we'll see him. I see it being looking to someone to free him from it. That's why I think Paladin. He doesn't have the stats for Ranger or Monk. He doesn't have the wisdom for it. It would take him to the end of the campaign to.
Well, I mean,
there.
Or we could be totally wrong, and he's planning on a patron shift.
That could be too. That's a little more unconventional.
Yeah. But Matt's the kind of DM that would definitely allow it.
Yeah, definitely. And I've done that with a Warlock before.
Yeah.
And went to the Celestial when it was still an Unearthed Arcana and very different from the Celestial Warlock now.
Yeah.
But I could see that being that's the only option I see playing out before 13th level. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Not that it wouldn't make sense mechanically or fit his play style, but storyline wise, and the fact that he's kind of got the aversion to full casters.
Yeah.
I don't see anything else prior to.
Yeah. So do you think Devin is hard at work on that northern map?
Yes. I do. She's probably been working on it since they hit land again. Or shortly there. At least since Felderwin.
I think Matt probably started working on what he needed to give her shortly before he dropped the hint of the Happy Funtime Ball about the fallen flying city.
Oh yeah, that's when Matt started working on it.
Yeah,
she started working at it. I'm assuming around the time
she delivered the Jorhas map.
Yeah, that's when I'm assuming she's okay. I'm done. Give me the next set.
Yeah,
that's where my thought is on that. And then we see the tattoos. We get the insight to the tattoos.
There was apparently some sort of a map of his hunting grounds. And also, we also are told that the orcs are extra large up there.
Yeah.
And that there's a really large tribe of orcs. And I'm thinking not orcs, but Orgrillions.
Yeah.
The half ogre, half orc.
Yeah.
So that's where my mind went.
That could be fun. Then we shift over to the humans, the Empire kids, and they meet an orc. Professor Tuswaka. Now, we kind of discussed a little bit, like, in Exandria, the kind of vibe, the personality I got off was a cross between Victor and Ripley. You mentioned Miracle Max, which I think is a better fit, though with a darker tone. Because there were just some spots where I was like, this woman is evil.
I didn't get that she was evil, per se. Just crazy.
Okay.
Or maniacal, which isn't necessarily evil.
I'll concede that point.
If she's evil in the way that Tony Stark is.
And Tony Stark is definitely evil. Tony Stark, Reed Richards, Hank Pym, those three heroes are responsible for 99% of the bad things in the Marvel Universe. They are evil. And Ford's in that group.
So maybe he'll have
there you go. He could go artificer.
Take under the wing of Tuskwaka. Yeah.
So there was a few things in there that stood out to me. She's talking about she's one of the lead designers for the war effort, and she mentioned once, maybe twice, the term war bodies. And my mind went to one of three things. Warforged.
Yeah.
Golems.
Mm-hmm.
Or, so you know how we have drones
mm-hmm.
and the people aren't in the drone? That kind of thing, but with dunamancy. You have this body, you attach a soul from a beacon or something to it. It can pilot that and then not be in danger.
Or just have the ability for instant communication over any distance for that sort of remote control thing.
Yeah, which brings us to one of the things she was talking about is copper being important. So copper, especially when we add a little bit of tin to make bronze, resists corrosion, has low friction, is a good conductor. Things that that's why they use it for bearings in ships, Tesla coils, things like that. But also copper, there are 4 spells that have copper as a material component. Message, sending, detect thoughts, and gentle repose. Which all feed into the Dunamancy drone theory.
Yeah.
Or if it's Warforged, it could be their communication style.
Or that's the bonding agent
of
the soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the copper. So at first when she said war bodies, I thought golems, and then I thought, well, maybe he's introducing Warforged to Exandria, since Warforged are a thing now in D&D 5th edition. And then when she was talking about the copper, I was like, wait a minute, what if it's just drones? What if it's a Dunamancy thing?
There is another option.
Okay.
Power armor.
Okay, yeah.
And that would give them a magic item to go after.
Yeah.
Or
and
steal.
It would still fit with the sending and stuff for the communications array.
Yep.
And then the other thing that stood out to me in that was when she's doling out the gems and has the magic items, there's a blade to a broken sword with a faint magical aura. Now they have a hilt to a broken sword with a faint magical aura. Are these two part of the same thing?
There is a chance that they are not.
There is a chance. But there's also a chance that this is a vestige.
Yeah.
Which is where our theory is.
Yeah, from the beginning since they picked that up. Yeah.
I think the blade is the blade to that hilt.
I think so too. And I think that hilt was being trafficked by the gentleman.
Yeah.
When it was taken by the Marrow.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably coming to Jorhath.
Yeah.
Now, neither, and so this is another reason why Travis sort of made my MVP, and why Taliesin almost made it. They had a side thing that they did mostly quietly, where they both picked up on that broken blade and the hilt, and Travis was like, shh.
Yep.
They both picked that out.
Yeah.
And they didn't mention it once.
Yep.
Even when they were like, yeah, Caduceus, we think this staff might be good for you.
Yeah.
Even though he already has a magic staff.
Yep. And that's themed for him.
Yeah.
The other way out there, wild speculation option, the hilt, the blade, these are both swords that Ford hasn't fully eaten yet. He's been sleep digesting.
Yeah, I'm also really nervous about Caduceus putting this vestige back together and giving it to Ford.
Yeah, especially while he's still tied solely to Katoa.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes me nervous.
The nice thing about the Hexblade, though, is he can switch patrons and still remain a Hexblade. It's kind of open, especially it's more open.
That's true.
To that. So if he wants to keep those abilities,
he could, in theory, actually go to the Raven Queen.
Yeah.
And maybe this blade might be
her vestige
to go with her armor that they found in Campaign 1.
Yep.
Interesting possibility.
So, yeah. So those were the big things that stood out to me.
And I had a lot of fun watching the inspection and Caleb going, "Watch out, she bites."
Yeah. No, and yeah, I don't bite. I don't have the muscles. And I also thought it was interesting for a wizard, and I know it's got to do with his backstory and stuff, but she reaches for the book in the holster. He's like, "Here, take this one," and it's a spell book.
Yeah, yeah.
That one's more personal.
Yeah, and even as much as Liam finds moments to enter monologue for us, I don't think we've been given clear evidence of what is in that book.
Nope.
So I'm wondering if we have a Winry moment with Jester where she takes it and cracks it open the way Winry cracked open Edward's watch.
That I would love to see that.
That's sort of where my mind goes.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking the Caleb Jester ship. That people are on. So
and initially I was on that initially. The more it goes, and I know there's been evidence for it, I know you're leaning more towards it. The more time goes on, the more I'm seeing it as the Percy Keyleth type of relationship.
Yeah, that's fair.
Rather than a, relationship.
Yeah. But I mean, it took Winry and Edward 64 episodes in Brotherhood to.
This is true.
Get together to actually speak the words.
This is
and
true.
That was at the very end.
And I'm not discounting, the widow jest. I'm not discounting that. I still think it's more likely than the Fordster.
Yeah, I think
at this point.
Yeah,
but I don't I see it. I just think the greater possibility is that.
Yeah.
So.
But when she was giving them the details on the mission, immediately I thought, "Oh, stone giants."
Yeah, me too.
Apparently, around the table, they thought hill giants,
which would be too low.
Yeah.
At their level.
Yeah.
Unless there was just a ton of them.
Yeah. But
because aren't they CR 3 or 4?
Hill giants are 5, I believe.
5, okay.
And stone giants are 7.
Okay.
And during the episode, at the end of the episode, when they actually were attacking them, I actually broke out my monster manual.
Okay.
And went Matt's describing all this stuff when he's rolling damage, and I'm like, yeah, stone giant.
Yeah, I didn't go that far, but I just the whole time just assumed stone giants. I was like, yeah, stone giants is probably about the right level for them. And then as the descriptions start coming in, these gray giant, I'm like, yep.
So the question I have,
yes,
is are they going to try to talk to any of these giants? Or are they just going to kill them? And if they just kill them, is there written evidence of why they're there?
Yeah.
Because I think they're there and has something to do with Caduceus's crematorium he's at.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I think they should try diplomacy. I'm not sure that they will. I mean, they are pretty much going into a fight in the next episode off the bat. But Cad does speak giant.
I forgot about that.
Caduceus speaks giant.
Yeah.
And he has a 16 charisma.
The thing is
Caleb has access to comprehend languages and tongues.
Yes. Yes, Caleb's the fallback for anything like that, yeah.
Caleb could also... They could use Caduceus... I mean, Caleb could cast comprehend languages and tell Caduceus what to say. And he could be the interpreter speaking the words.
Yeah.
Or he could... Or inversely, he could use Caduceus to translate what they say, and he could cast tongues on himself or Ford.
Yeah. So before we get too far down that rabbit hole, I did want to touch on one thing during the negotiation process.
Okay.
And that is, they were offered 8,650 gold pieces worth of gems.
Yes.
They have gone many, many episodes since speaking with Orly, dreaming about collecting 2,500 gold pieces worth of a particular gemstone of this or that type.
Yep.
So that Beauregard, who has a jeweler's kit, can turn that gem into dust.
Yep. And
put it in tattoo ink and get their ability to score tattoos.
Yep. Which could be a quicker way for Ford to multi-class.
Yeah. And I think the strength was rubies?
Diamonds.
Diamond was constitution.
Okay. I don't remember that.
Yeah, possibly diamond was constitution. I think ruby was strength. Probably we could probably look at the wiki and do it. But
speaking of diamonds, they did go diamond shopping.
Yep.
Now, so I don't know if Matt missed it or he was just role playing because of how Jester said it. But Jester talks about, hey, if you messed up and you got some dust. So she may have been talking about that the tattoos, but she's at a level, and we talked about this last week, where Greater Restoration is the thing, which requires 100 gold of diamond dust.
Yep.
And I think that's what she was looking for.
I think so too.
And I think she said it the wrong way, and Matt retorted, whether he caught that she was looking for a spell component or not, retorted the way a proud gem shopkeeper would.
Yeah.
You know.
I think that's true. For sure.
But I think she was looking for Greater Restoration spell components.
I think so too. And I think sooner rather than later, they may come to regret that she didn't press the issue on diamond dust, or take that 200 from that Ford was offering.
Yeah, and take that extra
to get diamonds to give to Bo to turn to dust.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I got a feeling that Bo, when she's like, we can come back later, because she was casing the joint outside to start this whole thing, I was like, is she planning on stealing all this shit from this moment?
That's where my thought went.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, no, I thought that too. I hope they don't try that, because that will go worse than the breaking on Avantica's ship. The other option is they can do more jobs for her and get more stuff.
Or Bo tells Dyron what to get and where it is.
Yeah.
And Dyron gets it for them.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I was thinking about that on my rewatch.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I sort of did mental math for some reason. I thought about it, and I was like, 4 days round trip, probably. Well, 3 to 4 days round trip. That puts them back in Gordranus around the time that Dyron would be getting there.
Yep.
And Bo hasn't asked Jester to message Dyron to tell Dyron, hey, we're already here.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an interesting confrontation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to when they get back. Also, Bo's art of the deal. I wanted to talk about that. And I love the fact, and this goes for this has happened the whole campaign with letting Not talk and letting Bo talk when stat-wise they're not the characters you want making the role.
Yeah.
But RP, they're taking the stage for. Yeah. I love that. And she rolled a 3. And I love that.
Best line of the night.
Well,
it's at least top 3. At least top 3.
Out of character, I'll give you it. It was probably the best line of the night.
Okay.
I think Jester had the best in-character lines for the episode. But yeah. They messaged Luke, which was just the worst idea.
Yes.
And Matt did it so well. And it was so good. It was so good. And I love Taliesin, his comment on it, his commentary. It's like the kid who opens the door, sees a troll, and closes it and never talks about it again. But he knows that happened.
Yep.
Geza pet sits. And Sam, ever the being supportive of his friend's pet collecting habits in game. It's like she's never trained it.
Why haven't you trained this thing better yet?
But they exit through the Deadlands.
Yeah. So before they exit, we get the shaving scene.
Oh yes. Oh.
So Caleb has been more upbeat the past few episodes.
Yes. Yes.
He shaves. Not only just gets a shave, but purchases equipment and
to
mentions
continue
every day. Takes the bandages off of his arms.
Mm-hmm. The old Caleb's coming back.
The thing that sparked in my mind the movie Gladiator. He won't say anything about his past. He won't say anything. He hides behind a mask. The scruff, the dirt, the bandages were part of the mask for Caleb. And then when he gets a moment, and in Gladiator, he waits till he's, face to face with his Trent.
Yeah.
Yeah. But once he's like, I actually have a chance to do this, to move beyond this, to right the wrongs, it comes off. The helmet comes off.
Yeah. That's fair, yeah.
And I think it was that moment for Caleb.
I think this is also a characterization of his comment that got the biggest laugh when he said, for the first time in a long time, I'm full of hope.
I'm hopeful, yeah. You look hopeful. Yeah. The other thing, if you want to go, because we know he pulled some of the inspiration from Raceland, is Raceland constantly sick, barely He goes. He disappears for a while. He comes back, and he's not coughing anymore. He's, I mean, granted, Caleb doesn't have Cayenne blood vein.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that transformation. I'm shedding this stuff that I used as an excuse, as a disguise, so that I can grow in power. I'm here. Yeah. And I'm at a point where you can't stop me. I'm gonna get what I want done.
Yeah. The other thing that I wanted to touch on is Caleb is wanting for soap.
Yes.
Which is an item in the adventuring equipment section.
Yes.
I believe the price tag is 3 or 5 copper.
I believe it's 3.
And he cracked open a magic item worth 50 gold.
Yes.
To spread over his face so that he could get a shave.
So, to be fair, he has a jar full of these 50 gold items. He had no soap.
Fair. Yeah.
Is the savings worth the time it would take to go to the store and get the soap?
Well, in the sense that the soap is cheap and they can carry it with them and going forward, so he doesn't have to keep using the boba.
Oh, I 100% agree with you.
Yes.
But
and I wonder if we're getting Sweeney Yasha.
I would love that. I have a Sweeney Todd tattoo.
She seems to really like the grooming.
Yeah.
Especially with blades. So oh man, okay. Now I need to see it. For Yasha to be covered in blood with the straight razor, and then to say all she wants to be is a lumberjack.
Yes.
And she also likes to press wildflowers.
And I'm assuming she's wearing women's underwear.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's like her dear mama, I don't know.
Yeah.
Have we seen her eat a scone?
Yes. Okay. Jester fed her a scone.
And she's had tea.
Yes. All the boxes are ticked. There we go. But yes. Ford's fort in the fort.
Yes.
His intimidating and belittling of Bodo?
Foreman Bodo.
Yeah. Was really good.
Yeah.
And the moments where Travis can do that are good. They're one of some of his best scenes in the show, I think. And we also have them split the party again, leaving the Moorbounders behind. Which was interesting because they didn't even try to stealth with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, they alert the stone giants. Stone giants throw a rock, hit Yasha. Episode ends.
Yep.
Last few minutes, I've already touched on. I think the stone giants are at that location because they need something for the thing that Caduceus is looking for.
Okay. Yeah. My initial thought was that it's a land dispute. The giants are, in their mind, protecting their territory from people invading it.
Well, that would require them to have taken the mine from them in the first place. And the exposition that we got was, they don't come down here. We carved this area out from the giant spiders.
True.
That's why I say the giants are there for a specific reason.
Okay.
And that's why I think, and I connected that crematorium to fire giants. But it could just as easily be other giants.
Yeah. And stone works just as well.
Yeah.
Really. I think I don't know if it'll be next episode. It depends on how long this thing with the Stone Giants, whether it's just a fight, whether it's diplomacy, whether it goes back to things. But I think when we get back to Gordronis, we're gonna have to deal with Yasha and how she feels. So Yasha is as uncomfortable with the dynasty as she is with the Empire.
In some of the role play stuff that Matt has done with her. Yeah.
I'm talking about Ashley's role play. Back in episode 18, when she meets Trent Ickathon, she's talking with the party about Gordronis. And she says, that she tells them that it's always dark, that they've enslaved all manner of man, beast, and demon. She's asked if she's been there. She's like, no, I wouldn't want to go alone. Travis asked if she would be interested. She said, yeah, just to see it, but they've done such horrible things, I would want to fight everybody.
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah. I saw someone mention something about her not liking the dynasty as much as the Empire, and I looked into it and found it in episode 18. So she's been here wanting to fight everybody this whole time. And now we have Ashley back, and we're going to see that play out.
Here's where I would pull the thread on that a little bit and say probably people are reading too much into that.
Okay.
One, Matt's refusal to let Yasha fight in the bar fight.
Mm-hmm.
We put it down to he doesn't want to put her character in danger when she's not there. But she was nervous being in that tavern.
Yeah.
And being nervous does not mean you're ready to kick the shit out of everybody.
So, wanting to and actually doing it, I'm not saying she's actually going to start fighting people, but just like she was uncomfortable, like when the one person recognized her at the festival in the Empire, and she got real standoffish and real on edge. We're going to see that stuff. Like, she is almost a civilized barbarian. And I say that meaning she's the barbarian that doesn't rage it. Whereas if Grog had been in her position, the dude just would have been hit.
Yeah.
Yasha knows when to hold back her rage. But that doesn't mean she's not any less uncomfortable, any less wanting to fight. She just knows it's not.
Okay, fair.
She's not going to be stupid about it. She doesn't have the 6 intelligence.
Yeah.
Sorry, Grog.
Yeah, that's fair. But I think I think Matt probably has a 3 encounter plan for this giant thing.
Okay. The scouts.
We have the guards on the outside. We'll have a secondary encounter within the steelworks, and then the final boss reveal, if you will. Whether all 3 of these are combats, or if just this first one is, or it starts out that way and they negotiate something. And then we find out why they're there, and then the party goes and does this thing for them so that Caduceus can get into...
You're right.
If I'm right, and that's the thread. And then it's back to Gordronis, where I think we'll see Dyron before we see anything from Yashai.
Okay.
But yeah, I can't think of anything else that might happen other than a double cross by the foreman.
Yeah.
Where after they are spent fighting the giants, they come out and he jumps them so that he can take credit. Or he can, but Ford did a pretty good bang-up job intimidating him. So that might not happen.
Might not.
But yeah. So we're going to enjoy Talks.
Liam and Taliesin.
Yep. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.